Hello, fellow beings of light, and welcome to episode 22 of our podcast. This week, or rather the 2 weeks between the 6/6 portal and the 6/20 summer solstice, are all about connecting and reconnecting, embracing the midway point of the year and embracing the accompanying pivot point in our journeys and in the collective shifts we are all experiencing. A pivot point between receiving, expanding, and upgrading when it comes to those things, and beginning to embody them and to take embodied action regarding them. These 2 weeks, they are our time to get all of our cosmic ducks in a row, or crystals, or whatever analogy you want to use. Starting to bring everything together, to connect some new dots or puzzle pieces together with old ones, to form the structure of what we are ready to step into as the second half of the year gets underway. And that is something we will touch on today, but it will come through more in the accompanying activation that will release at the end of this week, which Archangel Raphael will be joining us for, perhaps in that form, but maybe as Thoth or Quetzalcoatl. I never know with him. Today's podcast, though, it's more about reconnecting with ourselves, with our guides, with our higher selves, some old dots or pieces that may have shifted out of place with everything you have been receiving and all of the ways you've been expanding and upgrading this year. Back in episode 20, I provided the perfect example of this shifting and disruption to the usual flow of old dots or puzzle pieces. Over the course of this year, my frequency and consciousness level has risen substantially, and with that has come upgrades to how I communicate with and receive messages or guidance from the members of my team. Relationships and conversations with them that used to be intimate and feel very connected, where we took the time to work through things and through my understanding together, have shifted into being telepathic, instantaneous, and feeling very disconnected for me. And that's okay, because I can receive that way now. But as I allowed this upgraded communication style to take over how I receive, threads connecting dots together started to fade away. Puzzle pieces began to change and no longer fit where they once had, but they were still there. They were still meant to be there, still seeking connections and where they could fit in now. That was because the depth of my connection with some of my team, maybe even all of them at this point, if I'm being honest, was and still is important in my personal journey and in fulfilling my purpose beyond just the content of what I was receiving from them and what I do continue to receive from them. I'm not just channeling them for the sake of channeling them, receiving knowledge and truths from them to share with all of you. I'm also receiving, being surrounded by their love, support, guidance, and protection, or I'm meant to be. I've lost some of that connection and intimacy, the depth of our relationships that I had built, mostly by my own doing, which I explained in episode 20. But the point I'm trying to make here today is that the expansion and upgrades I experienced opened the door for that to happen. What we receive and the upgrades and expansion we experience can open the door to us getting so caught up in the forward momentum of what is coming through and shifting in our journeys, and when it comes to our purpose, that we lose track of, or connection with what came before all of it. That's not always a bad thing. There are things that we are meant to let go of along the way. Dots or pieces that no longer serve us or are no longer aligned. But it can be when it comes to the foundational dots and pieces of our journey and our purpose, like members of our team, certain guides. The dots and pieces that are holding up, supporting our journey, our purpose, or us personally. This is why we are given defined moments in the year, a week or two in the lead up to changes in the cycles, in the seasons. Usually the week or two before the equinoxes and solstices. Moments where the receiving, expansion, and upgrade process pauses to allow us to catch up, to form new connections, and to reconnect where we need to before moving forward. Define moments like now, during these 2 weeks between the 6/6 portal and the 6/20 summer solstice. So, how do we best use it, this pause, this week and the next? We spend some time reflecting. We sit and connect with ourselves, with our journey, with our purpose. We bring our awareness to each and allow ourselves to feel and know where we are at when it comes to them. When it comes to where we have been, where we are, and where we are receiving that we are headed. When it comes to the old dots and pieces that may no longer fit, or that may be shifting and need to be reconnected in new ways. When it comes to the new dots and pieces coming through and where they might be replacing or adding to the old ones. Think of it as a gathering process, bringing everything together in a clean and clear open space without feeling the need to form any connections or to put anything into a specific place or box yet, without any expectations or attachments to any of them. Just letting them be, exist in that space as they are, as potential dots, potential puzzle pieces, as the potential for your path forward in your journey and when it comes to your purpose. We sit and we connect with our team, especially those that have been or are coming to be foundational in our journey, in our purpose, or both. Turn to them and ask them, what dots and pieces am I meant to let go of? Which ones no longer serve me or are no longer in alignment? What am I meant to strengthen and reconnect? Do it. That's literally what they are there for, to support you and guide you in your journey, in your purpose. I mean, you may not always like their answers, just like you might not always like the answers that little voice in your head that speaks up sometimes gives you. But like that voice, they are generally speaking and acting for your highest good, your healing, and your well-being. Allow them to help you begin sorting through what you gathered in the last step, to begin letting go of some things and to begin placing others in groups or together. Your own intuition can be a great resource during this step as well, if you have worked with it and built the trust necessary to allow it to be one that is. As in, if your initial reaction to that little voice in your head, because that is your intuition, is to listen to and follow it and not to resist and argue with it, you're there. Getting to that point, though, it's probably one of the hardest parts of our personal journeys. but it is worth it. Feel into that intuition if you're able to do so. Allow it to help guide you through the sorting process along with your guides. We sit and connect with a wide array of future versions of our higher self, all of which have been where we are at in this present moment and have taken steps forward from this point in our timeline that were for our highest good. Different directions, but all of them leading us forward along our journeys and in our purpose. Connecting with them, considering multiple versions instead of just one, provides us with options, an opportunity to see how different choices may play out when it comes to our current pivot point. I like to visualize these parallel future higher selves as a field of doors that lay ahead of me. Doors that open up into what my life would look like if I chose that path, to see and feel it in motion. We sit and connect with the wide array of future versions of our higher self, all of which have been where we are at in this moment and have taken steps forward from this point in our timeline that were for our highest good. Different directions, because there are alternate versions, but all of them leading us forward along in our journey and along in our purpose. Connecting with them, considering multiple versions instead of just one, provides us with options, an opportunity to see how different choices may play out when it comes to our current pivot point. I like to visualize these parallel future higher selves as a field of doors that lay ahead of me. Doors that open up into what my life would look like if I chose that same path. To see and feel it in motion. Now, I don't open every door because at any given moment, there are an unlimited number of doors in front of us. And beyond each of those doors, another unlimited number of doors, and so on and so on. Instead, I sit and I connect with the doors and with where I want to go, the choices and path I am leaning towards or receiving or considering. And I call forward those doors that resonate most with that. And from there, I may choose one that calls to me, or maybe even a few. Never all of them, though. That would be a very long inner journey. This type of visualization, it's a good way to consider options, but it also serves another purpose as well, because the very fact that there are so many alternate versions of your higher self, so many different doors and opportunities to step into one or more of them. It's a reminder that we can make mistakes, that we can change our mind, that we can step forward into uncertainty and trust that our path will ultimately lead us to one of them. And once we've done all these things, we sit and connect with our dots and pieces, both the old and the new ones, with what we have gathered and sorted and visualized through the other steps. We take everything that we received when we connected with ourselves, with our team, with our intuition, with whatever versions of our higher self we chose, and we begin to work through it all, through thinking it out, writing it out, or visualizing it. Whatever works best for you in terms of how you learn, how you process things, how you receive. We go through the process of laying them out on a table and beginning to form connections, connecting dots or connecting puzzle pieces building the structure that we will move forward with, that we will step into and embody and begin taking embodied action regarding as the next phase of the year and our journey begins. We are going to get into this last part, this last step with Friday's journey and activation. But not to worry, we're not done here today. I'm being called to provide some smaller activations for the other 3 steps, in addition to the written light codes I shared earlier this week. I'll have to try to remember to pop those on the screen for this part. These activations and the accompanying light codes are intended to aid you in connecting with yourself, with your team, and your intuition, and with those future versions of your higher self, to aid you in laying the groundwork for that last step, connecting or piecing it all together. Normally this would be the part where I'd share which guide or guides I'll be channeling the activations from. But for some reason, I'm being guided to provide the codes, the activations myself. Okay, that's new, but we'll go with it. If you are open to receiving these activations and these codes, simply say yes, either out loud or within your mind. Okay, let's do this. Go ahead and settle in. Open your mind for receiving. Codes for connecting with yourself, for gathering. Agade sharare, agade wo sharakaria. Agade wo shara, arade sharagoyake, agade sharagoyakadea. Agadi sharakoya kadiska, Aragadiska, Aradiska, Agadi wo sharakadi akade, Agadi sharako sharakash kadakadiska, Agadish ish karako oish karakadaska, Aragid ish karako oish karakadash kadakadea. Agade ish sharaka oish sharakadakaras kadakadi. Aragade a sharakadaku oish kadakadas kadakadia. Aragade a arwoya se. Aragade e sharaka. Agade ish oish kadakash kadakadash kadakadia. Agade oish sharakpagosh kadakadish kadakos kadakada. Akade e sharakade, arakade e sharaka wush kadakada, arakade ish wush kadakade ish kadakoy akadea, arakade e wush kadakade is kadakadi, arakade wush kadakade as kadakade es kadakade oya. Codes for connecting with your team of guides, as well as your intuition, for sorting. Hari sharari hari. Ari osh sharakati is karakarwas karakati. Arkad a sharakad oish karakad ash karakati. Arkad osh karak ash karakati is karakosh karakatis karakati. Akade e sharakare oy atete atete akade o sharaka os karakit is karaka o sharaka akade o sharaka aish karaka o sharaka akade e Agade oya kadia. Agade oshadaka os kadakid as kadakid is kadaka oya. Adakade a ishadaka gosh kadakade. Adakade a at gorshadaka is kadaka oya kadi. Adakade ish oshadaka os kadakate. Adakade ish osh kadaka arish kadakade osh kadakadas kadakade. Arakade e sharap gosh kadakate. Arakade e osh kadakade gosh kadakatia. Arakade e shadak rosh kadakatiska. Arakade osh shadak arish kadaka. Ari ish kadaka osh kadakat ash kurugosh kadakates kadakati. Akade shara. Ara ish wosh sharabaгаsh sharakati. Arakade sharakoya katia. Arakade ishoro wosh sharakadas katakoya katia. Agade isharakoya katis karakatoya. Codes for connecting with versions of your future higher selves for visualization. Hari, Hare, Hareyui, Hareya, Hareri, Sharakoi, Akare, Akari, Ush, Sharakati, Arakiti, Ish, Karakoi, Skarakati, Skarakoi, Skarakate. Akadish ish worshadakaria. Akadi worshadakat askadik ish kadakat worshadakatis kadakatoya. Are ishara. Aragoshara. Akade ish kadakat oish kadakarish kadakoya kade. Akadi osh kadakat is kadakada ash kadakate. Akadi osh kadakati. Urshadakat kadis kadakos kadakati. Arakadi e adik uria kati. Adakati ushadakadas kadakati osh kadakati. Akadi ishadakaroya kadis kadakati ko. Akadish oshadakadaras kadakoya kadiska. Akadi ish oshadakadish kadakati. Akade orshadakadas kadakati. Akade ishadakoria kadakarish kadakati. Akade eshadakoya kadis kadakati. Ara eya koya te. Akade eya iya kurish kadakatia. Akade eya ish oshakada. Akade ish oshadakada askadakati. Iskadakada oshkadakatis kadakati. Akade shara. Akade ishara kadu oshkadakada isarakadea. Akade ish oshkadis kadakadoya. Akade ish oshkadakada. Ale. Akadea. And I'm getting. I'm also going to provide codes that bring all three together to help you prepare for that next step of beginning to build your structure, to begin to step into, to begin to embody and take embodied action with what comes together. Some calibration for that. I think we'll go with that. Akadi rish ushrakata askar oya kadi karish oya kadi agade ish rush kadakat is kadakar ushrakate akade ish oya kadis ish kadak osh kadak as kadak is kadak osh kadakati akadish ush kadakadas kadak is kadakar Arike ish ush kadakadas kad is kaduk os kadakat is kadak os kadakate. Alakati akrush kadakati. Arakadi ushkadakati ursharakate. Arakadi ish urshkadakate. Arakadi ish kadakushkadakatiska. Arakadi ish adaku ushkadakate. Akada ashkadak ushkadakat askadakati. Arakad us arakadis kadaku ushkadakada. Arakadi ish kadaku ushkadakadas kadakatis kadakada. Arigede akada urshadagada skidikiti. Arigede ish ush kidikit as ush kidikatis kadakoya. Akadoya kodogosh kidikat as kidikitis kadakoya. Arigede ish kidikoya kadikish kidikoya kadis kadikatia. Akade ish adakaroya. Akade ish ursh kidikadia. Akadi osh kadak ash kadak ace kadak osh kadak ras kadakati akadish osh kadakadesku arakade arakadi are akadi are akadi osh arakash kadakati arakadish osh kadakat ash kadakati Arakad ush kadakat as kadakadis ush kadakate. Arakade aish ush kadabok ush arakadia. Akadia. I am complete. Oh, that was interesting. I hope all of you received something from those activations and those codes. I'm almost wishing I did video with this because there was a lot of hand delight language going on too, which is unusual for me. I do channel it from others, but from guides, but I don't usually use it myself a lot. There's been very specific instances where it's come out, but it's not generally something I do. So that was interesting and fun, and I hope all of you got something from it. Thank you for joining me for today's episode and the activations and codes shared through it. Be sure and catch our full accompanying journey and activation that will delve into beginning to connect the dots and pieces together, beginning to build the structure that you will step into, embody, and begin taking embodied action from. That will come out this Friday. Fingers crossed. Now that I've been working through my own journey of reconnecting with my guides after the upgrades to how I'm receiving, we're kind of getting back into a smoother flow of things and co-creating a bit more on schedule. I'm grateful for that. Thank you, team. I don't mind going with the flow, but there is something to be said for structure. And make sure to join us next week for episode 23, which will be part 10 in our 6 Degrees of Soul Separation series. And during it, we'll be delving into not only more of my own journey, but into the concept of separation, what it was, how it played out, and more regarding it. That should be an interesting conversation. I'm looking forward to being able to finally start sharing some of that and the truths that I've received with all of you. So I will see you hopefully Friday and next week.